The learning target for this video is I can solve problems by writing and solving exponential equations in one variable. So what do you need to know? In the middle here we have our growth and decay function. This is what we're going to be utilizing when we are setting up these problems for growth and decay. So the plus or minus sign in the middle here just means that you're going to have to choose addition or subtraction depending on whether or not the problem states that it's growth or that it's decay. So it might say that a population is increasing, so that would indicate growth, or it might say that it's decreasing, and that would indicate decay. You're going to use growth and decay functions for things like population, half-life, accounts with simple interest. These are all scenarios where you're going to be using this formula. The entire expression, 1 plus or minus the r, this is the growth or decay factor. The a sub t, or the a of t, your function part over here, that's the final amount that's going to give you your answer. Your b is your initial amount. I say that's where we begin. B stands for begin. R is for the rate of increase or decrease, but remember we have to use a decimal here. And then T is for the number of time periods. And the problem is just going to give us all the information, and we just simply substitute the correct values in, and then we use order of operations to solve. At our example here. So I've recopied our formula for us over here on the left so we can use it. My problem here says that Ken purchases $5,120 worth of stock that is expected to grow in value by 6% each year. If this holds true, what will the value of Ken's investment be in 5 years? So we've done some highlighting here. First thing here, we know that Ken purchases $51.20 worth of stock. So this is my beginning value. This is where we start in terms of that purchase price. And it's expected to grow. So since it's expected to grow, I'm going to be using the plus sign in my formula, not the minus sign. And they tell me it's going to grow by 6% each year. So that's going to be my rate. And if this holds true, we want to know the value. So this is going to be the answer in the end. And we want to know what the value is going to be in 5 years. So my value for T is going to be 5 years. So I'm simply going to take all of that information and plug it into my equation. Or into my formula. So here's my B value, that initial starting amount. My rate was 6%, but remember, you have to turn your percent into a decimal, and to do that, you can just divide that number divided by 100, and that gives you the decimal version of the percentage, because a percent is always out of 100. So that's where we got the 0.06 from. We divided by 100. And then we plugged in our 5 for t, for our time. That's where this exponent of 5 is coming from. Then we can simply evaluate. Okay, so a of 5 equals 5120 times 1.06 raised to the 5th. So this is saying this 1.06, this is my growth factor there. The stock keeps 106% of its value each year. So that growth factor is 1.06. If you have a growth factor in parentheses that's above 1, that also indicates growth. If you have a growth percentage or a growth factor here that's less than 1, like you have 0.8, let's say for example, that indicates decay and that my function is getting smaller. Then we just evaluate, so 5120 times 1.34, and that's going to give me 60.8, or in other words, that's $6,860.80 after 5 years. Okay, so he initially invested that 5,120, and then after 5 years, it's now worth $6,860.80. All right, if you want to try one, time to pause, come back after you've finished trying it to check your answer. So currently there are 93 bald eagles in Forest National Park. Bald eagles are an endangered species, and the population of bald eagles is decreasing by 11% every year. Which of the following functions represents the number of bald eagles in Forest National Park in T years? So again, I have my formula over here, this time down to the right, and we're going to kind of fill in that information. So my initial amount, or my beginning value in this case, is this 93. Okay, that's where we're beginning. So I'm just going to kind of make a list here of my variables that I need. Okay, it tells me that my rate is decreasing. So since I'm decreasing, this time I'm going to use that minus sign, and I'm decreasing at a rate of 11%. And we know that if we have a percentage, we just divide that by 100 to get an actual decimal. So I'm going to have 0.11 for my rate. And it says, which of the following functions represents the number of bald eagles in the park in T years? So I'm just keeping T as a variable. I'm not actually solving for anything. I'm just writing the equation. So A of T equals my B value, my initial amount. We started with 93 bald eagles. And then this time I'm going to use 1 minus. It's always 1, and we're using minus again because we're decreasing. So 1 minus that rate at which we're decreasing is that's that 11% or 0.11, and I raise that to the t power. So now I just need to simplify what's inside of my parentheses here, use my order of operations. Okay, and 1 minus 0.11 is going to give me 0.89 raised to the t, and there is my function. That's as far as I can go in terms of evaluating or simplifying that. So we can see here that would match with choice A. Okay. Another thing to remember, you can always check to make sure you have the correct growth factor. Since I'm decreasing, it should be less than 1, and I notice here I have 0 point something indicating it's less than 1. Where like B, I could have eliminated B right away because that would indicate that it's growing. If you need some help on this topic, you can check out the Learning Target spreadsheet for additional resources, videos, and practice.